a short video about our farm. So a couple of months ago we purchased a 100-acre piece of land in a place called Glenhope East, which is about 15 minutes south of Heathcote. The farm itself is mainly cleared grazing land with about 15 or so acres of renewable forest, which has been grown in the last 13 years on the property by the previous owner. So this is one of the access tracks that heads down into the property. We're pretty lucky that there are a couple of access tracks that are still accessible by four-wheel drives, but they're pretty old and overgrown. So next week we're getting some machinery in to start actually rejuvenating those and building them into tracks that two-wheel drives can access. You can see just how dry the landscape is. Obviously this is filmed during summer. Put up some pictures here of when we first started coming out to the land a couple of months ago, how wet and green it was. It's really cool to see the transition from that wet green landscape to the really dry yellow landscape that it is today. The land's about 20 minutes drive south of Heathcote, and it's not too far from the McIver Creek, which was the location in 1852 of a gold rush in the area. Around 40,000 miners descended on the area and pulled out a heap of gold pretty quick. So it'll be interesting to see if we can find any old artifacts on the property. There wasn't any mining activity here, but I imagine miners would have been not too far from here, potentially camping and whatnot. The first record of sale for the property I can find is from 1903 when it was sold to the Donaldson family. Since then it's changed hands a number of times. The previous owner purchased the land in the early 2000s and set out to restore the land and really rejuvenate it and create these really cool forests, which is what you see here. Before that, the property was basically entirely bare with no wood and probably no wildlife on it. So really cool to see what the previous owner and the guys from Wood for Good have managed to achieve in that 13 years. Anyway, let's go for a bit of a walk around. So here we are walking through the trees. There's lots of trees. There's about 15 acres on the property.
It's our little forest.
Yeah, which is pretty cool. A mixture of different types of gums. I think there's sugar gum, red gums, spotted gum. I don't really know the differences yet, but pretty cool plant. Yeah, hybrid gum trees. Lots of birds in here, which is really cool as well. They're called chows, or chow birds or something. You can hear them. Really cool.
We're just walking through the sort of last little bit of the forest. So the idea was to revegetate pretty much this whole piece of land into this, I guess, revegetated forest. At the moment, it's only about 15 acres out of the 100 that's been done. So we're hoping to plant a bit more trees and keep revegetating the land. I don't know if you can see over there, sort of behind where the forest ends, it's just sort of empty grazing land. So that's what this whole forest used to be, and this is how it's transformed from the empty grazing land to this forest in the last 13 years. So we want to make sure we keep doing this and attracting wildlife, saving some of the land and the creeks and all that.
This is really cool here. You can see the old fence posting.
So this would have been the old fence post from back in the 1800s when it was first deemed grazing land.
Yeah, assume 1800s, maybe early 1900s. I don't know, but it's pretty old. See a bit more down there. Can't wait to get the metal detector out and actually have a bit of a look around and see what we can find in the ground. I think there'll be quite a bit buried here.
This is sort of good shot to see the contrast between how the land used to be, sort of just this, to reforested.
Yeah.
Looks so amazing in there. So many birds.
So interestingly, up until the sort of most of the 20th century, it was almost encouraged to deforest the land.
For grazing land.
Yeah, for grazing.
That was considered the best use of land back then.
Yeah, and you know, fair enough. That's what it was at the time, but things have moved on now. And now there's not an awful lot of actual forested land left up in these parts of Victoria.
Yep. Yeah, so that's where we come in. We're hoping to regenerate as much of this land as possible into the forest behind us.
Yeah. All rub against them. You can see their fur all over it, and over time they can actually kill the trees.
It's I guess it's there when you ring bark a tree to kill the tree. It's sort of a similar process. They just rub against it so much that they end up ring barking the tree eventually.
Yeah. So priority will be to, because we obviously still want to run some animals on the land, is protecting these existing old trees. Make sure that they.
This one's nice and healthy
thriving.
still.
Yeah, this one looks alright.
Nice and lush.
Yeah. Looks like someone's tried to cut it a long time ago.
The tree.
Looks like it.
Huh.
Kind of interesting.
So just beyond that hill is hopefully where our house site is going to be. That's the plan at the moment.
Yeah.
House? Farmhouse?
Farmhouse.
Farmhouse.
Farmhouse. Big farmhouse. Big communal farmhouse.
Woohoo.
We'll leave it there for now. In the next couple of weeks I'll put up some more videos around what we're actually planning to do in terms of construction and the infrastructure to support actually living out here. So water, electricity, driveways, and how we're going to go about installing all that. I want to also mention Ben from Wood for Good, who have been involved in this property for a number of years and have done a lot of the work to restore it and rejuvenate the land to the point it is today. So really looking forward to continuing to work with them to really restore this place and make it into somewhere special. But for now, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.